What's up, guys? It's Brittany, and welcome to another episode of Randomness. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Randomness. Quick question. Do you remember the Berenstain Bears? You know, those fuzzy bears from the children's books. Now, here's the real question. How do you spell it? Berenstain or Berenstein? If you said Berenstain with an I, with a EIN, you're wrong, but you're not alone. Thousands, maybe millions of people remember it the exact same way you do. So welcome to the Mandela Effect, where collective false memories get really, really weird. Today, we're diving into this mind-bending phenomenon that makes you question everything you thought you knew. Trust me, by the end of this episode, you're going to be second-guessing some memories you are absolutely certain about. Let's get into it. So, first things first, what is the Mandela Effect? The term was coined by paranormal researcher Fiona Broome back in 2009. She was at a conference chatting with people, and the topic of Nelson Mandela came up. Fiona mentioned that she had clear memories of Mandela dying in prison back in the 1980s, and she remembered news coverage. She remembered the funeral. She even remembered his widow giving speeches. Here's the problem. Nelson Mandela didn't die in the 1980s. He was released from prison in 1990, became president of South Africa, and didn't pass away until 2013. But here's where it gets interesting. Other people at that conference had the same exact false memory. Same details, same certainty. That's when Fiona realized this wasn't just her being confused. This was something bigger. The Mandela Effect is when a large group of people share the same incorrect memory of something. And we're not talking about one person misremembering something. That's just regular memory failure. We're talking about thousands or millions of people all remembering the same wrong thing. And once you start looking for examples, they are everywhere. All right, let's get into some examples. I'm warning you, some of these are going to make you feel like you've slipped into an alternate universe, okay? Just a warning. So, I already mentioned this once, but seriously, look it up right now if you do not believe me. It is Berenstain with an AIN, as much as it kills me to say that. Always has been, but so many people, including me, remember reading Berenstain Bears as kids. Why would thousands of people all misremember in the same way? Okay? And what about Snow White? You know Snow White, right? The evil queen looks in the mirror and says, what? What does she say? If you said, mirror, mirror on the wall, you would think you're right. But watch the actual Disney movie. She says, magic mirror on the wall. What? Mind freaking blown, okay? Oh, man. Darth Vader's famous line. Everyone knows this one. Luke, I am your father. I mean, it's one of the most quoted movie lines ever, except Darth Vader never says that. The actual line is, no, I am your father. No Luke at all. I mean, how can millions of people quote a line that was never said, right? So freaking weird. And then we have Monopoly Man's monocle. Picture the little Monopoly Man, you know, rich Uncle Pennybags. He's got that top hat. He's got the mustache, the fancy suit. and a monocle, right? Wrong. Nope. He never had a monocle. Go check a Monopoly board. Nothing there. But people will swear up and down they remember him having one. Now, this one's really freaking crazy, okay? Life is like a box of chocolates. Forrest Gump's Mama says this famous line, right? Life is like a box of chocolates. Nope. The actual line is, life was like a box of chocolates. Past tense, but everyone quotes it in present tense. I can't with that one. I just can't. I cannot. Oh my gosh. All right. Looney Tunes or Looney Tunes? Toons or Tunes? How do you remember it? Well, it's Tunes. Always has been because it was a play on Merry Melodies, but tons of people remember it being spelled Tons, like cartoons. I don't really remember which one it was. I mean, well, whatever. Anyway, just let that sink in, okay? I mean, are you feeling a little disoriented yet? Because we're just getting started. So what's actually going on here? Why do so many people share these false memories? There are a few competing theories ranging from the scientific to the, let's call them creative, okay? So theory 1, false memory and confabulation, okay? This is the mainstream scientific explanation. Our brains don't record memories like a video camera. Memory is reconstructive. Every time we recall something, we're essentially rebuilding it from fragments. And our brains are really good at filling in gaps with what makes sense or what we expect to be true. Like with the Monopoly Man, for example, our brains associate monocles with the rich, fancy old men. We've seen Mr. Peanut with a monocle. So when we recall the Monopoly Man, our brain just freaking adds one. It feels right, even though it's wrong. Confabulation is when your brain confidently fills in details that never existed. It's not lying. You genuinely believe the false memory is real. Okay, then we got the second theory, the power of suggestion and social reinforcement. Once someone mentions their false memory online, it spreads. Other people read it and suddenly think, wait, yeah, I remember it that way too. This is called the misinformation effect. When something gets repeated enough times, especially by multiple people, our brains start to accept it as truth. It's why eyewitness testimony is actually pretty unreliable. Memories can be contaminated by suggestion. Theory 3, parallel universes and alternate realities. Okay, this is a little wild. Some people genuinely believe the Mandela Effect is evidence that we're living in a multiverse. They think these aren't false memories at all. They're real memories from an alternate timeline. And the theory goes something kind of like this. Maybe at some point, our consciousness shifted from one parallel universe to another. In the universe we came from, it was Berenstain Bears. And Mandela did die in the 1980s, but now we're in a slightly different timeline where things are just off. Is there any scientific evidence for this? No, but it's definitely the most fun theory to think about. Theory 4, simulation. What if we're living in a simulation? Okay, the Mandela Effect could be glitches in the code or updates to the program that weren't implemented perfectly, like when you update software and suddenly little things are different. Again, zero evidence, but it's certainly thought-provoking. So, here's what really gets me about the Mandela Effect. It's not just that we're wrong, it's that we're so sure we're right. Memory is fundamental to our sense of self. Our identity is basically a collection of memories stitched together into a narrative. So when you discover that a memory you've held for decades is completely false, it's genuinely disorienting. It makes you question what else might be wrong. And when you find out that thousands of other people share your exact false memory, that's when it gets really weird because we rely on consensus reality. If everyone agrees something is true, we accept it as true. But with the Mandela Effect, everyone agrees and everyone's wrong. There's also something deeply uncomfortable about realizing how unreliable our brains are. We like to think we're rational, that our memories are accurate, that we can trust our own minds. The Mandela Effect is a humbling reminder that we can't always trust what we remember. But here's the thing, this doesn't mean your entire life is a lie or that nothing is real. It just means our brains are doing what they've always done, taking shortcuts, making assumptions, and occasionally getting things wrong in predictable ways. If you want to experience this yourself, here are a few more Mandela effects that you can test on your friends and family. The Kit Kat logo. Is there a dash between Kit and Kat? Most people remember Kit dash cat with a hyphen. But nope, it's Kit Kat, no dash. Curious George's tail. Does Curious George have a tail? He's a monkey, so of course he does, right? Wrong. No tail, never had one. I do not remember him having a tail, so I am correct about that one, okay? And then Pikachu's tail. You know, Pikachu from Pokemon having a black tip on his tail. A lot of people do. But if you look at images, his tail is yellow with brown at the base, no black tip at the end. Then there's Oscar Mayer or Oscar Mayer. Shut up. It's Oscar Mayer with an A, but many people swear they remember it with an E. I totally remember it with E. What the F? I don't remember it with A ever. What the? Lord have mercy. Oh my God. So anyway, try asking people about these without telling them the answer first and watch their faces when you show them the truth. Personally, I think the Mandela Effect is a fascinating window into how our minds work, whether it's false memories, parallel universes, or glitches in the matrix. It reminds us that reality is maybe a little stranger and a lot more flexible than we like to admit. It also reminds us to hold our certainties a little more lightly. Just because you're absolutely sure you remember something doesn't mean it happened that way. And that's okay. That's just being human. And the next time you're in an argument with someone about the way things were, maybe pause and consider, is it possible you're both wrong? Is it possible your brain filled in details that weren't there? And hey, if we are living in a multiverse and you slipped over from a timeline where it was Berenstain with an E, welcome to this reality. It's definitely weird here too. Anyway, that's it for today's episode, all about the Mandela Effect. I would love to hear from you guys. What's a Mandela Effect that really messed with your head? Please share your stories with us, with me. Thank you for listening. And remember, guys, question everything, especially your own memories. All right, y'all, that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening. Please make sure to hit that follow button and share Randomness with a friend, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.